You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jen, and we are two boss babes sharing our journey and inspiring you along the way.
Today we are joined with Ellie from Here For You. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. I am Ellie Haney, the founder of Here For You Clothing. Thank you both so much for having me. I can't wait to talk about my journey and just be here with both of you.
We are so excited. So today is our first guest speaker, and we are so excited. Did you know that you're our first one?
I had no idea. I'm even more excited now.
So episode 7, and we have our first guest, which we are so excited about because we really wanted this podcast to inspire businesses, but we want to inspire each other too. So we love that we can have guest speakers, and this was always our mission of the podcast. So you're a part of it, and we're so excited. And we're going to ask you some questions today and just be your full self, share whatever is in your heart, whatever you want to share with us today. And we're going to talk about our businesses too and kind of how they all pan together.
Awesome.
So do you want to explain Here For You?
Sure. So I would love to explain Here For You. So pretty much I've struggled with my mental health for pretty much my entire life. I'm 24 years old. So I've struggled with my mental health for pretty much my whole life. Pretty much came to a forefront, was really, really difficult for me in college, 4 years at school. And I actually happened to graduate spring of 2020 when COVID started. So I have no idea how I graduated college. We were talking about college before, I do not know how I graduated. And I was kind of, immediately took the first job offer that I got out of school because I was like, that's what you do. You accept a corporate job, you work in a city, and you make money, and you have a family. Truly, that was just my vision of what I was going to be. I never thought that I would do anything, extraordinary. I kind of just thought that, with my anxiety, my depression, all my struggles, I was like, if I can just survive and do what I'm supposed to do, then that's good enough. And so, ultimately, what happened to me was when COVID hit, I was, everybody was terrified in the world, but I was, somebody who struggles with mental health on a daily basis. The idea of being isolated and not being able to leave your house is an absolute nightmare. And so ultimately I was like, if I don't pick up a hobby or do something, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah. And so I ultimately kind of got into fashion, and I started tie-dyeing, bleaching, researching clothing, and kind of just playing around with different designs. Became obsessed with how it made me feel, honestly. And I just remember, going to bed during COVID, the really, really, really dark times, and waking up and kind of being like, wait, I'm kind of excited about my design. I'm kind of, it almost was like a little initiative to get out of bed for me. And ultimately, I found an obsession with this hobby, and I started selling some of my pieces on Instagram that I was making. And ultimately, to make a long story short, I ended up quitting my corporate job. It's honestly almost been 2 years. No, maybe a year and a half now. A year and a half now, because I just felt like I never belonged in the corporate world. There's a lot of feelings that were going through my head at this time, but I didn't belong in the corporate world. And this hobby that I was doing, creating, designing clothes, selling, was giving me so much happiness that I was like, I can do something with this. Yeah. So I quit, and I launched my business full time about a year and a half ago with absolutely no idea what I was doing, but I knew that it made me feel good. And so ultimately, Emma, who is my best friend, who's sitting right over there, she pretty much, I was talking to her about, I was like, I quit my corporate job. I have this clothing thing that I want to do, but I don't know what I want to do. And Emma and I were just talking, and we've always talked very openly about mental health. And, I kind of explained to her, Emma, these clothes, they make me feel better. They are an outlet for me, for my mental health. What if we can do this for other people? What if we can make this business into something that makes other people feel better? And so ultimately that was when Here For You was born, was because Emma was like, why don't we, put "here for you" on a shirt or on a sweatshirt, because that was something that we always said to each other when we were going through shit. I'm here for you. I'm here for you if you don't want to talk.
Perfect.
It's perfect. And so ultimately that was how "Here for You" was launched. And we came out with our first product, our first sweatshirt. It was a white crew neck with rainbow writing. And ultimately it meant to be, we launched it in September of 2021. And that happens to be Suicide Prevention Awareness Month.
Oh my God.
So
just got goosebumps.
Right? It was, and we didn't plan any, like, honestly, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, we didn't even plan any of that. And so, I started posting on my story, on my Instagram story, like, this is, mental health is really important to me. It kind of started opening up a little bit about mental health. And I think we did like 10% of our sales that month were going to go to a nonprofit for suicide prevention, because it was September. And ever since that, I just knew that this was what I was going to do for the rest of my life, because the responses that we got, thank you so much for talking about this. Like, I lost my dad, I lost my friend. It kind of hit me that I was like, holy crap, this is a problem and people need help, including myself.
Yeah.
And so ultimately Here For You has grown, the past year and a half into something that, like, I couldn't even imagine. I'm doing a lot of speeches, to universities, colleges, athletic teams about how my mental health journey has really healed through fashion and through creativity, and also many other ways, of course. But the idea that, you see somebody wearing a Here For You hoodie and you feel less alone. You feel like you can take that next step, and that's your sign that you need to, call a friend or call somebody, do something for yourself. So that was like kind of long, but I feel like that was needed to explain.
I didn't realize that you started at the same time that we did, like about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't know that it was so new for you
either.
Still.
Yeah.
You do not present it that way at all. Like, you're very confident in the way that you do your business. Like, I had no idea. I thought it was like maybe like you started in college, or like, I don't know.
Thank you so much. That's a really big compliment.
No, like, you look like you have everything together. So if it doesn't feel like that, it looks like
funny.
that.
I'm a smirking over there. But looks
really, like, like all of your
I
designs and
that.
like the growth that you've had with it, and you're starting a podcast now, and all of the speeches, and like you're popping off like crazy. I don't know. I didn't know it was so like new for you still.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
I love that.
so
I did
cool.
not know that either. And I think that it's just so inspiring to hear other people's stories. And like, I know you're not alone in things. Like, I'm a mom, and I feel like I never had mental health issues until I became a parent, because you have all this guilt and this and that. And it's just like different things that you think you are alone in. And so it's so good to hear that, like, you're not alone in this at all. I love that. That was such a great intro.
And that it means something for so many different people. Like saying like, oh, I lost my dad, I lost my friend. Or if it's something that you're dealing with personally, like Here For You can mean so many different things for so many different people, and you like bring them together through that.
Absolutely. And I think that that's one of my favorite things about what I do is, like, what you just said, Jen, like, connecting to, obviously I'm not a parent, but, Here For You can mean something really, really special to a parent, but can also mean something very, very special to me and to Meg. Like, it just is all very, very different, but all the same. And I think that that's, and when I say all the time, one of our favorite things about being in business is the people and connecting through this message and through all of it. So
I love that. Okay, so next question is, how important is a work-life balance to you?
So it's hugely important to me, and to be completely honest, I struggle with it on a daily basis, being completely straightforward. I really struggle, and that's probably the biggest thing I'm struggling with right now. But I think it is the most important thing. So yeah, I honestly, like, a lot of things have changed for me in this past year. I have almost been sober for a year, so I completely cut alcohol out of my life, which has been amazing, but definitely very, very, has altered my life. And so now, you know, I think like I really cling on to work because I'm obsessed with it and like I love it, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm working until 3:30 in the morning. Like that's not healthy. Like that's not, you know, gonna get me anywhere. And I think that when I used to, not using alcohol is like kind of, but this is just the truth. Like when I was drinking, I kind of was able to, I don't know, like I feel like I was like almost able to like turn it off. This is just me being completely honest. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go out Friday night, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna forget about work. And you know, that obviously was not healthy. But now I'm kind of learning how to deal with things. And really deal with things. You know, it's like, okay, like it's Friday night. I need to turn my stuff off. But I need to do that like in a healthy way. You know, now I need to go hang out with my friends. I almost have to like force myself to stop working. And not just an easy way out where I'm gonna down a bottle of wine. You know, like, and so honestly, it's been a struggle for me, but it's very important for me. What do you guys think about it?
I can kick us off because I have something that I realized last year. So we went on a family vacation in June, and June is like one of my busiest months by far with my business. And I went on vacation. I brought my laptop and I was like, you know, I'm going to work here and there. I literally opened my laptop the first night that I was there. My kids were sleeping already at the point. I responded to 2 emails and they go, you know what? My computer's going to be here in a week. I don't need to work right now. I need to spend time with my family. I need to focus and have we had this beautiful patio that my husband and I were on the beach that we could sit and just talk. Instead, I was trying to do work on vacation. And that was like my red flag. I was like, you know what? Absolutely not. And I did not work another day on that vacation. And I got home and everything was still there. I had an out of office on. We talk about this all the time. We're like, as long as you're communicating it to your customers, these are your working hours. This is when you're working. And the other time is with your family when you're not working. But that was so hard for me because I come from a corporate background. I worked 24/7. My email was on my phone. I literally did not put my phone down to not check emails. So that was something, and you can go in a second because I know that you agree with this, but we decided 1 weekend per month, we are not booking anything. Megan and I both agreed upon that, like when we started our business. And it's very hard because it's like your only income. It's your money at the time. But I use that weekend to debrief my business and debrief like everything that's going on, the craziness, and then I can be a better version of myself when I come back that following weekend. So
even if you're not using it for a vacation or something, if you're just taking the weekend off to just be at home or like hang out with your dog or read a book or like watch a TV show or something, like having that time alone where you're not busy and you're totally disconnected from your business, I think is really valuable. There's a couple of months where I said I was going to do it and I didn't, just because like you get those inquiries coming in, and like for us, like with like the service-based business, it's like somebody asks you to do something, like you want to say yes, like, and especially for like a weekend, if I'm saving a weekend and I'm like, I'm not booked Saturday and Sunday, I saved it, and then somebody asks me if I'm free that weekend, I'm like, I don't want to say no because I am free, but at the same time I'm not, and I need to set that boundary and like take the time for myself. So it's hard, but I try not to work past 5 or 6 and like keep it separated. Like I've got a corner of like my room that like my desk is, and then I try not to move my laptop and like work in different areas so that like that corner is my working corner, and that like the rest of the room like has nothing to do with work. This is where I eat, this is where I sleep, this is where I watch TV. Like I don't work there. But
it's so funny you say that because I don't have an office at my house, and I was thinking of putting my office in like a corner of my bedroom because I love my bedroom, but I love my bedroom for my bedroom, not for my office. And I thought more about it because I was like, this is a quiet space away from my kids. Like I can actually get stuff done here. The lighting's really nice in there. And I said to myself, I was like, no, because then how do I shut off my computer and go to bed? And you have to balance that.
It can't be in the same space for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But absolutely, and I think that this is something that you guys were saying kind of sparks something in me, and I wonder your thoughts on it. I feel as if, so Jen, I know you were in a corporate background too, and like I feel like sometimes this gets into my head where people are like, oh my God, like you're so lucky, like you can make your own hours, you can do like, you like have the best life ever, like you do. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like I am every single day, like I wake up and I'm like so grateful, but it almost makes me feel like, oh my God, I should be working every 2 seconds because I like have this baby that I need to grow, and that like I can do this on my own time, and if I don't do it, nobody else is gonna do it. And that almost gets into my head where I'm like, wait, am I doing enough? Like if people knew what I was doing, would they judge me? Like, you know what I'm like, I quit my corporate job, like this is my income, this is my life, this is my mission, this is my passion, this is everything. Shouldn't I be just like grinding my ass off every second? And to be completely honest, like that is my mindset a lot of the time. And I know that that's not healthy because I see like the next question, burnout. Like burnout is so
we can go right into that. So
real.
yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, same kind of thing. If you work too much, you don't set that boundary, like you're gonna experience burnout. So go wild.
It's
Tell
no,
us.
it's so crazy. Like, and I know that you guys know it too. It is a real thing. Like if you grind and grind and grind and like always say yes and always do things, like at the moment you're like, oh my God, my sales are up, my money's up, like I'm, this is it, like this opportunity, like blah blah blah, like hell yeah. And then you burn out. And for me, like I don't want to speak for you guys, but like when I burn out, when I'm tired, I become anxious, I become depressed, I become like my OCD tendencies, all of these things, like they build up, which is one, not healthy for me personally. Like I can't like deal with, like, that's not good for my mental health. But also number two, I can't run my business.
Yeah.
So it's a lose-lose situation. Like, yeah, the highs are really high when you're grinding, but the lows are even lower. And, those opportunities, I'm telling myself this to tell myself.
Remind
this,
yourself, yep.
To remind myself, the opportunities that are meant for you will never go away.
Yep.
They will be there. Like you said, Jen, they will be there after your vacation. Because if you are grinding nonstop and not like, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. No matter how hard you are, like no matter your drive, your passion, like you can't sustain that. And so I've learned, I am learning that, I need a balance because the burnout is so real and it will become, I feel it, like it will become longer and longer and longer to a point where I will have to take a month off instead of, okay, tonight I'm going to turn my computer off at 7 and I'm going to fucking turn my computer off at 7.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. That's the answer. I'm that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would rather do that than to be shot for a month for my physical and mental health and for the business.
Yeah. I feel like burnout could bring in like a lot of resentment too. Like if you're burnout and you start to hate your work, you're going to resent your work for doing that to you. But like you're doing it to yourself by working too hard. So I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's a huge thing too, is like resentment. And like I remind myself, like, and again, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. Like we've chosen this journey for ourselves. Like we chose it for our mental health, for, to bring only positive. Of course it's going to be hard, but we chose this to impact other people's lives and to change the world and to live our best lives. And if we're not doing that, what's the point?
Yep. I fully agree with that because I got burnt out in corporate and I always told myself I would never do a job that I did not wake up every morning and love. And this is now my path. Like I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. I never thought, I thought I was climbing the corporate ladder my whole life because that's what I was taught that you had to do. And, not that my family ever instilled in you can't be whatever you want. They always did. But it was like, that's how they were brought up. But I truly feel that I'm lucky that I saw the burnout in the corporate business where I try not to do it now, but everyone does it. You have to remind yourself that if you don't take a break, it's going to bite you in the butt at the end because it's just so hard to shut it off, but you have to shut it off. You have to. And like Meghan has set working hours. I don't, which works for me, but also when I'm with my family, I'm with my family. And that took a long time for me to do. And I'm still on my phone. I'm not perfect by any means. But I feel like you have to balance the two. Or we were at an event last week and the speaker talked about like balancing life and business like a seesaw. And it's so true. Like if one is all the way down, the other is going to be up. So it's like if you are all into your business, your family's probably going to slack a little bit. If you are all into your family, your business is probably going to slack a little bit.
That's a good way to think about it.
Right?
Because like they can't, like it's well they can be totally level.
Yep.
But it's probably a lot of effort to keep them at that, maintain that level ground. Yeah.
And I think it's okay for the seesaw to move a little bit.
Right.
And that's what this woman said. And but I think if you are focusing too much on one thing, it's totally going to drop. So it's like you have to, it balance is freaking hard and burnout is real.
It really is. And how do you guys how do you turn it off? Like, how do you have set working hours? Like, what, like, honestly, like, I really struggle with it because a lot of the times I'm like I'm actually asking for my, like, I need help with it. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn my computer off at 8 tonight. Like, whatever. I don't have set working hours. I just don't. You know, we have events all the time. Like, you guys, like, it's very hard for me. However, like, I'm trying to take the next step and be like, okay, that's all right. I don't have set working hours right now. But when I feel like I need to be with my family or I need to take a rest, I'm going to turn it off. But so like I'll turn my computer off, like I'll shut my computer off and then I'm like, oh shit, I have
to do this.
How do you do it?
I write a to-do list and I'm just like, no, I'm doing that tomorrow.
Oh, that's smart. Like you write a physical list?
Yeah. I have two. So I have like a planner. So I keep like a list in my planner. And then I have like a to-do list app on my phone. And like I have the widget really big on its own screen. So I have like the first screen that's all my apps. And then I have to slide to the next screen. And those are all my working apps. So when I open up my phone and I'm like, you know, with friends or something, like none of my working apps, like Honeybook, QuickBooks, all of those are not on my homepage. They're on like a totally separate page that I can like not see it. Because if I see it, I'm going to click on it and like look at it and work on it. And then like setting those working hours like at night, like if like I try my best to like get to like a good place where I'm like, yeah, I can wrap up today. But then I still have a list of things to get to tomorrow. But I mean, if I keep going, then I know that like what am I going to do tomorrow? Like if I accomplish everything I need to accomplish in one day, what am I going to do tomorrow? And like work is always going to keep coming. Like you're always going to find something to do because we're our own bosses. We have everything on our own shoulders. But like, I don't know. I feel like that helps me to be like, when I start in the morning, like I know exactly what my first thing in the morning is going to be. And then I'm like excited to do that. Like I want to go to bed excited to go to work tomorrow, not make less work for me tomorrow. I want to make like more work for me tomorrow. Does that make sense?
That's really good advice. That's really good advice.
I think mine was truly that vacation that I went on. And I realized that I booked 2 events when I got back. Who waited for me to get back.
They'll wait, yeah.
They will wait. If they want to book you, they want to book you. If they're not your customer anyway. So I think it was really realizing that this business is going to be here when I pick it back up the next day. And it's not going to be here if I'm not my best self the next day. But every day is not perfect either. Like I have 2 toddlers. So I'm working around their schedules too. And they're home with me most of the time. So I have to work in the pockets that work for me. So sometimes it is 1:00 in the morning. We joked, I sent an email to like all these vendors at 1 a.m. And I was like, Meghan was like, you can schedule those, right? And I'm like, shit.
I didn't mean it sassy like that. But
No, she did not at all.
But then even just little things like that, like even if you are working past your working hours, doing like a schedule send, like that reaffirms the working hours with everybody else. So
1 a.m. email. That's so me. That's literally so me.
Literally.
It's terrible.
But I also feel that if I am working till 1 a.m., I'm not going to do the best job tomorrow either. No. So it really
that's my whole point is like if you work too hard in the one day trying to cram it all in one day, like you're not going to do as good of a job as if you had waited until the morning.
Absolutely. And it's so much easier said than done.
It is. It is.
But it's like
we're truly, but I also think that that's what makes us good entrepreneurs because we want to touch the business every day. And I do feel that you should touch it every day, in a sense, not saying you need to work 8 hours on it, but I think you need to touch it because if you don't, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't do this. So for your own, anxiety, I feel like you need to do something every day, but you don't need to be working 8 hours when you have other things to do at the same time. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. Do you have a business coach, or did you ever have a business coach?
No. My mom, I would say my mom was definitely my business coach. So, not like I didn't like hire a business coach, but my mom definitely my business coach. She actually has her own business, apparel business, that she's been in for like 16 years.
Wow.
So she has taught me pretty much everything I know, which is just like so lucky that she's just brilliant. She never went to college either, and has worked for everything that she has, and like just has taught me absolutely everything. So I never had, well, also, so my mom definitely number one, and then number two, my business partner, his name is RJ. You guys have never met him, but he has been like a mentor to me my entire life. I grew up working at the Fairfield Beach Club as like a front desk girl, and he is the general manager of the Fairfield Beach Club. So he's a couple years older than me. I think he's like 31, 32. And he is a really, really smart business person. He was one of the people who encouraged me to go full time with my business, and he came in on my business. He's now a partner, and is just literally so smart. It's mind blowing. So him and my mom have been huge business coaches for me.
Nice.
And I mean, like, I would not even be close to where I was without either of them. They're both they know business like in and out. So I would definitely consider them my business coaches for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties into like, do you feel it's important to have almost like a business therapist? And in that, I feel that it's someone who is either at the next level that you want to be, or someone that you almost look up to, because I feel like that helps you keep going. What are your thoughts on having some type of like business therapist?
Oh, absolutely.
It could be your best friend. I mean, it could be anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I strongly believe in the idea that like you bring people on. I don't know if this is quite answering the question, but I think it is. So like, I strongly believe in like bringing people on your team who know more about a topic than you. So,
Oh yeah.
And so, RJ, who's my business partner, knows so much about business, and he has taught me absolutely everything, and he's also a safe place for me. So if I ask him like, if I ask him there's no dumb questions, but like I ask him, what's an LLC? Like, he's not going to look at me and laugh. Like, he's going to say, all right, Elle, like I know you don't know this right now, but I'm going to teach you how to do this. Like, almost like a therapist. Like, he is, he wants to teach me, and he knows that he has knowledge that he brings to the table. And I know that he does too. And I, blatantly say, like, I would not be even close to where I was without him. And so I strongly believe in having people on your team who know more than you do about a topic, and who also do not judge anything.
Yeah.
Almost like a therapist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that is huge, because ultimately, if you're afraid to ask people who you work with about something, you're never gonna move forward. Because I just strongly believe in living like an open, authentic life, and just everything out there. And I think that I strongly believe in that, like, absolutely.
So I'm actually going through this with my business right now, so I'd love to hear your side of it.
Totally.
I'm looking on bringing on a partner, and she is my college roommate, and really good friend, and we haven't like figured out the logistics yet. But how do you take that solo entrepreneurship and allow others to come in? Because I think that's my biggest problem, is feeling that I can do it all. And that goes back to burnout, and that goes back to having people who know things better than you. And I am not an organized person by any means. I'm very unorganized when it comes to certain things. And she's very organized. So we're totally going to balance each other out on things. But I feel like I'm in a stage of like, I can still do it all, and I can't, because my business will never grow. So what's your advice on that?
Oh yeah. I have so much advice on that, actually. So I have a business partner, RJ, who I mentioned before, who pretty much does all of our finances, all of like kind of our behind the scenes, accounting, and handles all like legal things and all of that, business plan, is incredible. He's, you know, not like behind the scenes in a bad way. He just doesn't, you know, do all of like the events and whatever. However, so I brought him on ultimately because I was like, if I don't bring somebody on who knows about business, I'm going to fail. Like, because to be completely straightforward, I didn't know anything about taxes, finance. I don't know any of it. I'm willing to learn.
Yeah.
But I knew that, and he ultimately, like, he's a very confident person. He sat me down and was like, you need me. And I was like, yeah, I do.
I do.
So that was a pretty, I don't want to say easy, like, you know, I think I just said to myself, I was like, this is not negotiable. You know, it's not negotiable. You can't do it all. And, you know, yeah, I could learn how to do taxes and finances and all these things, like, by myself, but why do that?
Yeah, do you really want
like,
to?
Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I want to create. You know, like, I want to create, and I want to put my time and my energy into things that I know I'm best at. Second half of that question is Emma works with me full time. She is my, what do we call you, Emma? You do everything. Managing partner. She has a million names because she just actually does everything. So Emma is my best friend of a gazillion years. We became best friends freshman year of high school. Very fast friends. Have literally had one fight our entire lives. Like, we just were meant to be. Like, she's my twin flame, like, everything, whatever. So ultimately, she sat me down about a year ago now, and, you know, without getting too nitty-gritty detail, she was like, I want to come on full-time with you. I want to be a part of this business. I want to watch it grow. She was like, I don't want to watch it grow. I want to make it grow.
Yeah.
And so, to be completely honest, you know, at first I was like, oh no, like, I know she has so much to offer, and I know that she would grow this business tremendously, but one, I'm afraid to give away power, and two, I'm afraid that, you know, we are going to fight. And so this was a year ago, and ultimately I thought about it for a little bit, and then, you know, I realized that, kind of like where you're at, Jen, like, this will not grow if I do not give up power. It won't. So I either can stay this way for the rest of my life and you know, be successful. I'm sure I'll be successful and whatever. Or I could give up a little bit of power and change the world, ultimately. And something that, quote, I say to myself literally every freaking day is, what is scarier than change is staying the same.
Yeah.
It is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, Emma, and I personally think that if you are going to bring on somebody, your friend, you need to trust them, like 1000%, because I've always trusted Emma. There's never been one moment in my life where I haven't trusted her. And so I ultimately had to, you know, break down my guard and say, I trust this person. She is a very, very intelligent, like, all of the qualities Emma has. And I trusted her. I you know, said, come on with me. And the business has quadrupled because of her. And I'm not even saying that to be nice. Like, I'm not even, it's just true. And it's because I gave up that power. And some days it's still hard for me. Like, Emma's like, Ellie, you can't do this. You don't have time for this. Like, that's Emma's personality. She's like, Ellie, you don't have time to do this. I'm going to do this. So just let me do it. You know, you need somebody who's not passive. Because, you know, and if, like, because Emma's just like, she's very, 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 like, knows what she's doing and is very confident. And I think that also allows me to be like, okay, she's got this.
She's got this. Yep.
She's got this, and I got this. And ultimately, like, we're not meant to do this life alone. And the faster that, you know, we all realize that, is, like, the happier and the more successful that we'll all be.
I love that. Okay, so next question is, explain Give Yourself Grace featuring Rennie, and how does it apply to business owners?
Oh my God, yes. So that was one of my favorite collaborative lines that I did with one of my best friends, Rennie Hunter, who's also an entrepreneur, and just don't have enough good words to say about her. I know you both know her, and she's just phenomenal. So, sorry, how does Give Yourself Grace apply to business owners? Oh my goodness. So Give Yourself Grace, I catch myself saying give yourself grace to people I work with on a daily basis and also saying it to myself. I think that ultimately the message that we wanted to spread with this line and that we did spread is that you just have to forgive yourself all the time. Like all the time. And give yourself grace with everything that you do. If you screw up, if you lose an opportunity, if you, whatever it is, you need to give yourself grace because we're all just trying to do the best we can. And the more that we forgive ourselves and the more that we're easy on ourselves, like the better we're going to feel and the more successful that we're going to be, honestly, because I don't know. I feel like if you're your own boss, like you're so hard on yourself. Like I'm sure you guys are extremely hard on yourself.
Yep.
So am I. And ultimately, like that doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for you.
True.
It literally doesn't.
It's not helping you. It's not getting you anywhere. It's setting you back, if anything.
Like, if you actually think about it, like, oh my God, fuck, like I said something that I wasn't supposed to say. Like, I'm like gonna sit in bed for 2 days because I'm so mad at myself. Like, those thoughts go through my mind all the time. But what is that going to like? What is that going to do? Literally nothing. And so, I forgive myself often, and I try to forgive myself often and give myself grace and just say, I'm a human. I screw up. Like, I would rather screw up and find the path for me than to please everybody and to, have everything work out. Like, I would rather find my path and like my gold, than to just be, oh, everything's great.
Yeah. It's so true. How do you feel, like, for the listeners, how would you say is like a way that you remind yourself about that? Like, is it when you're super crazy and you're like, Ellie, take a step back? Like, how do you feel that you remind yourself to do that? Because you can totally forget to give yourself grace.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that it's a constant reminder that I try to honestly instill in myself. I try to meditate every day for at least 10 minutes.
I love that.
So, I don't do it every day, to be completely honest, but I really try to. And during those 10 minutes, I usually do like a guided meditation, and it kind of allows me to, really be like, okay, whatever happens today, I've already won because I'm alive and I am, I'm a gift to this world. And I kind of almost just like ground myself, and I'm like, whatever happens today, like, I've already won, And so even if I sit in bed and don't do anything, like, that's a win because I'm breathing and I'm alive and I'm like living moment to moment.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
And so, however, my other answer to that would be therapy, honestly. And I think that I go to therapy. I'm blessed enough that I have the means to go to therapy on a weekly basis. And I know a lot of people do not have that. So I know that is a absolute privilege, but going to therapy on a weekly basis allows me to remind myself that my mental health is not something I take for granted. And if I'm crazy all week, like, I know that I have this time, this 45-minute block to, okay, breathe and give myself grace. So it's a built-in reminder that really helps me.
We literally just talked about this last night. I said to Megan, I was like, I am so glad we do this podcast because it's literally an hour that we have together that we shut the business off and just talk to a friend. We literally have coffee with each other, and we feel that it's making a difference to other people because we're telling you that you're not alone. We're telling you that these are the struggles that we go through too. And I feel like that this hour is our reminder that we're allowed to give ourselves grace. But I think it's hard because there's, we just talked about, there's days where you're like, I didn't get everything done on my to-do list, but that's okay. It's okay. Tomorrow's going to be here. We hope.
Absolutely.
So the mornings for you where you like meditate every day, like, do you have like a structure where like you wake up, you eat, you read, you meditate? Do you have like a slow morning routine?
Nope.
No. Every day is a new day.
I was like, should I lie on that?
No, absolutely not.
I was cackling. She would have literally had to leave of laughter if I said that I did. I don't. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie. And I have been, something that my structure, my daily structure is something that I'm definitely working on. I really try to meditate every morning to just ground myself and to get my head on. I'm like, if I can meditate for 10 minutes in the morning, that's a win. Like, that is a win. I really, really try to do that. Sometimes I work out in the morning. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I usually just jump right into work, honestly. And that is not great, I know. But, yeah, I need to definitely get better on that. I also have been struggling with, like, eating recently, where I found that I, like, will go a long period of time where I don't eat. And then I get really, really anxious. And then I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? How have I not eaten anything?
Yeah.
I have struggled with eating for like a big portion of my life, like most of us do. And recently I'm like just not been happy with like my weight and stuff. And so I'm like, I'm like going between like, all right, I know I have to eat something, but like I don't want to gain weight. And like if I don't eat, I get anxious. But if I eat, I gain weight. So dealing with that right now too. I drink a lot of coffee in the morning. That I love coffee, honestly. So I'm a big coffee
Cheers.
advocate. Cheers to that. But to answer your question, no. Do you guys have a morning routine? Please share.
Not really, but I want to also. Like I feel like having a slow morning can be a very valuable thing, and sometimes I'll go through spurts with it where I like wake up and I'll eat breakfast and read a book and then I'll start to work. And then there's other days where I just don't feel like it, and I'm just like, no, I'll just eat something and work at the same time, and then it'll just go on. And then sometimes I'll work until like 3:00 and I'm like, oh, I didn't stop for lunch, and now if I eat lunch now, I'm probably not going to eat dinner, and if I don't eat dinner, then I'm going to feel really gross in the morning tomorrow. And it's just like, I get that a little.
Yeah, I don't either. As mentioned, I have 2 toddlers, so I am really learning to try to get up before they get up, because I felt like during COVID, that was what I would do, because I was launching this business. I was really like, I was able to relax a little bit, which I think COVID did that for a lot of people, allowed you to slow down a little bit, even though we didn't want to.
Yeah.
It allowed you. We were forced to. We were literally forced to. And I truly looking back, and I saw I was a different person when I got up before my kids. I was working out in the mornings. I was doing all these things that I'm not doing currently. But I know that those are things that really make a difference. Another thing I started doing was I actually put my phone on the other side of my room now. So I cannot touch it when I first wake up in the morning. I literally have to get out of bed to go touch my phone.
I want to do that too.
Then
this is my sign to do that.
Mind blowing.
Me too.
It's been a game changer. Like, I'm not even kidding, because I was just like, the blue light was in my face 24/7. I would get up at like 2:00 in the morning and I'd be on my phone. And I'm like, first of all, how am I going to go back to bed doing this? Second of all, this is not good for my brain right now. My brain should be sleeping, not on my phone. So I heard a lot of people did that. I tried it for a few days. Not going to lie, I'm pretty sure most of the days it came back into my bed. But the days that I didn't do it, I felt like such a better person. So I'm going to continue to do that. I highly recommend. It's been life-changing.
So like your alarm goes off. I'm assuming you have an alarm on your phone, or maybe not.
I don't.
You have kids.
No, we actually talked about this. I mean, my husband works a full-time like he works a regular 9 to 5. So he has to get up in the morning. But yeah, the kids. But when I do want to get up before them, I do have an alarm. But again, it's on the other side of the room. So I have to physically get up and shut my phone off. Yeah. That has been life-changing, like by far.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
You have to do it. Yeah. But I don't do it every day. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, I have a routine. I have absolutely no routine. But that's one part of it that's really been working. So
yeah, we're going to do it together, because I really need to do that too.
It's absolutely happening. Yeah. It's absolutely happening.
No, it's so hard. Like this morning, like we started shooting this at like 9:30 this morning, and I'm very slow. Like I'm slow at getting up. Like I usually wake up at like 7 a.m. But then like I go on my phone and it's already been like 2 hours, and I'm like, what am I doing? And as soon as I get out of bed and like start to eat and work, my eyes already feel like I've gone through a full day of work. And I'm like, what's going on? So I feel like even just that, like, not even like, well, yeah, like the blue light, I'm sure like affects like like your what is it, like your whatever rhythm, what's that word?
I also
circadian rhythm or something, like nervous.
I know what you're saying. I just have no idea what the word is.
I feel like it probably affects that, but like my eyes are not fantastic, so even just that like puts me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. It's like,
and I also heard I also heard that, say you get a bad email from a customer or something first thing in the morning, that's going to ruin your whole morning.
100%.
So I keep reading with these like motivational podcasts that I love to listen to, that don't check your phone for the first half hour. If you
Yeah.
could do it for an hour, have at it. But a half hour, do something else to replace that, because it's hard. But if you find something else, like if you have an alarm clock, you don't need to check your phone. Your email can wait. Everything else can wait. Like unless you know that someone's calling you, you don't need to check your phone.
No.
Okay, I love this.
And isn't that so crazy? Like how many things we know will make us feel better, but we just don't
Still
do
don't do
them.
it.
Right. It's like, oh, it's too much effort. It's like, is it really?
It's actually
No.
more effort that we're living this other way. And it's so like, that's what something I have been not even trying to be, cheesy, but giving myself grace for. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know all these things would make me feel better, but for 24 years I've been living this way. So like, of course I'm not going to change overnight.
Yep.
But the fact that we're even thinking about these things I
And
think is a
talking
win.
about it,
and
yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
it is a
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
I agree. So in kind of, all the burnout and everything we talked about, good question. Do you take any days off from your business?
No. Absolutely not. No, that's traumatic. No. I mean, like, yes and no. I think that an example, a very, very recent example, actually that I'm really proud of myself for is last week. Last week, Emma and I have been, we've been doing a lot. Last week was like crazy. We were interviewing tons of people, tons of interns, and we were honestly like, we both felt it. We were about to burn out. And I acknowledged that, and I was like, we're canceling everything tomorrow. Like, I think this was like a Wednesday or something. And I was like, we're canceling everything for Thursday. We're going to get our nails done, and we're doing very minimal work. And I've never done that before. So I think that almost counted to me as like a day off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be honest, it was one of the most amazing days, because the entire time I felt like I was recharging. And I was like, oh my God, imagine if I had taken those calls. Imagine if I had gone to those meetings. I would have been at -40. And so I think that was like really showed me, this was literally last week, how powerful it is to take a day off. And for me personally, like how my anxiety works is like, I actually get more anxiety when I don't have things on the schedule. I like don't like sitting still. I don't like watching movies. Like, I mean, I do, but like certain times, like my biggest fear is like laying in bed during the day. Like I can't do that. Just it's just how my anxiety and depression work. I associate like doing nothing with like my thoughts roaming and stuff. And so a lot of the times I'm working on this with my therapist. I have to force myself into relaxation. So for example, that day off we took last week, we got our nails done. I had a Reiki session. I don't know what the hell else Emma and I did, but we did like, I went on a walk, or I went on a run or something. And, I had to schedule in relaxation. Also giving myself grace, knowing that like, that's okay. That like, I can't just lie on the couch all day. That's not relaxing for me. But scheduling relaxation that's great. If that works for me, that's great.
Yep.
So I believe in days off. Absolutely. I have only taken about one, but hey,
I love how
that's
spontaneous
better than nothing. Yeah, and it was spontaneous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need to be taking some more days off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, like I had mentioned before, like in my eyes, I feel like I need to touch my business every day, but I don't feel that what works for me is I don't work 8 hours every day. I probably don't ever work 8 hours, to be honest, because it just doesn't work for my schedule. But I think it's okay because you work in the pockets that you need to work in. But there are days where I will like respond to one email and I'm like, you know what? Today's a day off. And it just means I'm going to work extra hard the next day, but I'm going to be recharged. I know you do days off.
Yeah. I mean, there's no like day of the week where I'm like, Wednesday's my day off.
Yeah.
Right.
But like,
Right.
with us, like sometimes we're working from home, sometimes we're at an event, sometimes we're shooting a wedding. Like, like for me, like Saturday is like, I'm always going to work on a Saturday. And then it's like, but then that like working day is a totally different working day than like responding to emails at home.
Right.
So it's like a weird balance where like when I'm responding to emails at home, sometimes I don't feel like I'm working because I'm not doing my business. I'm like working the back end of my business.
That's so relatable. That is so relatable.
But it like gets confusing in your mind because it's like I'm working right now, but I really don't feel like I am.
But
so
do you think that goes
hard.
into how much we love our business, that we feel like it's not work?
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
like I feel like, because I totally agree with you. I think there's days where I'm like doing, you know, flyers on Canva and I'm creating things, but I love to create.
Right.
So for me, creating a cocktail menu does not feel like work, but yet I'm working.
Right.
So and this is work for us, but this does not feel like work,
Right,
you know? So it's like,
it's just you have to keep those things fresh to make sure that you still continue to enjoy the work that you're doing. So if you're working too late at night, and like Instagram for me, like my social media for me, like sometimes I like right now, like I haven't posted anything in
I actually noticed that
in a while.
I was like, where is she?
No, I go through spurts where I'll like post for like a week, like every day, and I'm like doing good, and then I go through another week where I'm like, I don't want to do this, I can't do this, I can't do it, I don't want to, and you know, just have to remember that like the people that really do like my work and like me, like they will stick around, and if people unfollow, they unfollow, and you know what, I don't care. Like the numbers, you gotta let it go, and like don't look at who watches your story, post it and ghost it, and like go home. Don't even. That's what I've been getting into lately. So like I know that I need to post because like that's how people are gonna find me. Like my business, like I don't have like items posted for people to find on their own and purchase. Like like they have to buy into me, and if I'm not promoting me all the time, they're not gonna find me. So I know that I'm not doing myself good right now by not posting, because people aren't going to find me, but at the same time, like I'm still getting inquiries coming in from old posts. So it's like, is it okay? And like, it is okay. But
yeah, no, I think that goes into our last question. How would you describe imposter syndrome?
So like, what even like is imposter syndrome? Because I feel like I don't really even know. I feel like I've actually used the words imposter syndrome but like, what is that really? Like, I don't really know how to like explain that.
Like feeling like you're not good enough. That like people will see you out there and be like, oh, she's doing fantastic.
Right, but you don't feel it.
And you don't feel it at all. You feel like you have to look like everything's going fantastic, but you don't feel it. Like you're here for you. But sometimes maybe you don't feel it. You're like, am I a fraud?
Oh,
you know,
the amount of times that I feel like I'm a fraud is like not even funny. Not in like a bad way, but I'm like, there's some times where I'm like, oh my God, I am posting, you know, I'm the founder of this mental health brand, and I am quite literally not taking care of my mental health right now. And absolutely, that happens to me a lot. And I think that, you know, this business, my business, I'm so grateful that like it reminds me to take care of my mental health. But there's tons of times where I'm like, I am not taking care of myself, and I'm preaching mental health, and I'm a fraud. And I think that like that's okay, because you know, and I think that that's why people honestly follow me, and because people like respect me, is because I'm so real. And I'm not standing up here and saying that, oh my God, I have a morning routine, I take care of myself every single day, like I like whatever, like, oh no, I never want to like you know what I'm saying, like it's just not true. It's just not true. Yeah. And it's not real, and that's not like, you know, and maybe some people run mental health brands and they have a morning routine, they take care of themselves every day, and that's fantastic. But I think that, you know, just working, you know, 1% every day, and just letting it all out there and talking and just being I just believe in authenticity more than anything. And I think that if we, you know, if I can talk about how I'm feeling, maybe I'm not doing the best things, but if I can talk about it and be my true self, that's a win. And, you know, but absolutely, I feel, you know, fraudulent all the time, because, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I'm posting whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like, honestly, like I'm at a really low point right now. And like, that sucks. But honestly, like, I feel like I am so lucky, because I have speakers.
my dog's playing with her toy cow right now. If you hear like jingling, that's my dog pacing. She's having a little moment.
So no, I love it. I love animals so much. But I feel like honestly, like it's, you know, I've built this incredible community behind me that is just really has honestly proven to me how much people can really affect your life, and like how much a community can really affect your life. Because when I'm feeling anxious, when I'm feeling sad, I talk about it. There's some days, like example, last night I had really, really bad anxiety that was honestly so bad that like I didn't even want to share it. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes like you know, a lot of the times I post how I'm feeling. That's me. That's my brand. That's who I am. That's, you know, why I'm like respected and people follow me. I'm sad today. I feel like shit today. Whatever. You know, the amount of people who say, me too. You're not alone. We're not alone. Like, we're all just living this life and trying to do the best that we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why are we pretending to be other people? Why are we pretending to feel good when we don't feel good? What is that doing for us?
Hurting us.
It's hurting us.
100% hurting us.
And it's hurting the world.
Yep. I feel I'm big on reels on my social media, and the reels that get the most comments and attention are ones where I'm being real and I'm showing them the behind the scenes of my business, and that I am a hot mess and I am a disaster and I do not have it all together. And I think people want to relate to you, whether it's other vendors, whether it's your customers, whoever it is in business, they want to be able to relate to you.
Absolutely.
And if you're showing them that you're perfect, they're not going to relate to you because they're not perfect.
No.
So it's like, why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
why are you painting this picture that isn't authentic? And I'm a firm believer in authenticity. Whatever that word.
Never say that word. Yeah.
We're not going to try to say it. But I'm a firm believer of that because I feel like that's what helps you be successful, because people buy from people that they relate to. So if you own a business and you're trying to sell something to someone, if they don't relate to you, they're not going to buy from you. So I love that. And I mean, I know I deal with imposter syndrome all the time. I'm like, I judge myself to other mobile bars. I judge myself to other people in business,
yourself.
other
Absolutely.
moms. I'm like, how is she making that perfect lunch for these kids when I'm just throwing in whatever I can possibly throw in? As we're running, they're lucky they have one fruit and one vegetable, and the rest I don't even care about.
Listen,
but
that's still pretty
you,
good.
I feel proud when I can cut the fruit in the morning. But I look at other moms who do run businesses, and they're probably not doing it all. They might have had a good lunch one day, but another day that they probably were just surviving like we are.
Right.
Or maybe they have a nanny and they just don't tell people.
Exactly.
Like there are things behind the scenes that like they just we might not know, so that they can present that they're doing amazing.
Yep.
There
Like a business coach, things like that.
people are like, I found like even in just this like year and a half of being in business, like literally like there's nothing is as it seems.
No.
Nothing is as it seems. The most perfect person who has it all together, like they do not have it together. They just do not.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like the beauty of authenticity is like, you know, I feel so connected to the people who let down their guard. And a lot of my speeches, I say, like a lot of my like speeches about mental health, I introduce myself one way. I say, hi, I'm Ellie Haney, founder of Here For You Clothing, mental health advocate, you know, like successful in business, mass media communications major, graduated, blah, 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 have whatever. And then I say, now I'm really going to introduce myself. And I'm like, I'm Ellie Haney, I'm 24 years old. Like, I ate lunch alone in the bathroom at school, even though I was captain for a year. Like, you know, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm running this successful business, but I struggle with money on a daily basis. And I struggle with depression, anxiety, and like, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I look like this, but I feel like this. And then people, like, you know, the audience is silent because they're like, holy fuck, that's me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm glad that you do that because you speak at a lot of like high schools too, right? Not
yes,
just colleges.
yes. Mm-hmm. High schools, middle schools, and you know, like I strongly just believe like if I grew up knowing that it was okay to not feel okay, I would have asked for help earlier and I would have lived a very different life. Don't regret the life I've lived because it's led me to here and it's the best, you know, life ever now. But you know, it's like we just all are like, oh, we're supposed to live like this. We're supposed to feel like this. We're supposed to like this person. We're supposed to like, you know, like, no, you're not actually. You can do whatever the hell you want, you know, and like you can feel however you want. And, we're supposed to feel it all, not just the good.
Oh man, I love that so much. As a mom, that like speaks to me because I want to try to instill that in my kids. I want them to know that, I have a son. I want him to know it's okay to cry. Like, you don't have to be the man all the time. I am a little tough love sometimes, but I'm working on that because I feel like I got a lot of tough love growing up too.
Yeah.
And yes, it made me stronger, but sometimes I felt like I couldn't show my feelings all the time. So I feel like I'm very blessed that I am able to present this to my kids now because I've taught myself different ways on how to be a parent. And it's hard because the world is crazy these days and you want to bring your kids up in the best environment and the best thing you can. But also, like, you teach at schools, like high school is really hard. And I know that they're going to have those challenges. So all you can do is, support them and be there for them and do all that. But I love what you're doing and helping and inspiring other people. And I just think it's amazing how many lives you're changing.
Thank you. That means a lot. Seriously.
Yeah.
And right back at you guys. Seriously, like, you are incredible for creating a platform to, talk about all of this. And it's really, you guys are special people and are changing many lives as well. And just like, even in your daily business, like just, like, I don't know, just talking about mental health and being a mental health advocate, obviously both of your businesses aren't like mental health, like you don't call it like you're not the mental health photographer. If you can want to be like that, great. If you want to be that one day, great. But, that's not what you guys are like branded with, but you incorporate that in, with your clients, with your customers. And that is what everybody deserves and everybody, that's what life should be. And I commend you guys for doing that.
Aww.
This has been such a special episode.
So special. I can't wait to listen to it multiple times.
No, I truly believe this is probably going to be one of our bigger ones. Like if people just listen to this podcast for this episode, I'll be happy.
Me too. Honestly, it really helps me. So I know I'm going to definitely be listening to it multiple times.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to wrap up? Anything that you want to tell someone, like, to get off your heart and just like share one piece of advice to them?
Yeah, I think one piece of advice is, if you're struggling right now in whatever aspect of your life, like, tell somebody, like, don't be afraid because you are never alone. And I'm like, to be honest, like right now I'm struggling, honestly, with anxiety, like really bad these past couple days. And I'm talking about it, and that is making me feel a lot better. Not perfect, but like this morning I woke up and I was like, Mom, like my anxiety is like really bad. And, it's really bad right now, and that's okay. And, if you're struggling, say it, because you're going to make me feel less alone.
Yeah.
And you're going to make somebody else feel less alone too. So, life isn't supposed to be perfect, and every down we have makes us who we are, and it's the beauty of life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
So where can people find you? Tell them about your podcast, your links.
Yes. So people can find me we just rebranded everything. It's hereforyouclothing.com, Here For You Clothing on Instagram. And our podcast that is run by Rennie Hunter is called the Literally Here For You podcast, and you can find it on all platforms. It's linked to my Instagram bio. It's actually not linked to my Instagram bio, but it's linked to my highlights.
We'll link it in here too.
And awesome. Thank you guys. And I think that's it. But thank you guys so much for having me. This was a pleasure. I really needed this today. You have no idea.
Thank you. Thanks for being our first guest too.
Yes.
I'm honored. I'm truly honored to be the first guest. I had no idea, so it's even better.
All
Thank you
right.
guys.